When was the last time you did something purely to find out what you liked? Not for your kids or for your partner or for your job or for anyone else's comfort or approval, but just to find out something true about yourself. If you're struggling to answer that, this episode is definitely for you. Welcome to your daily hit of grace and grit, your quick dose of inspiration to kickstart your day. I'm Courtney Townley, and here is today's hit. By midlife, most of us have spent decades becoming very good at knowing what everyone else needs, right? What our children need, what our partners need, our employers need, what the situation needs. We have calibrated ourselves so thoroughly to the needs and expectations of others that we've quietly, almost imperceptibly, lost ourselves. It's not dramatic. It doesn't happen all at once. It's a slow accumulation of 1,000 small moments of choosing everyone else first. Until one day, you realize you can't quite remember what you actually like, what you actually want, who you actually are when no one needs anything from you. I have this conversation many times with my clients. I've had it many times with my clients over the years. And it really matters because you cannot honor something that you've lost track of. So the first and most essential step in knowing yourself is making time and space to do it. And that's really hard at midlife. I completely get that. It's genuinely hard. Midlife women are almost universally overscheduled and underrested. And the idea of carving out time and space for themselves runs directly into a deeply held belief that doing so is selfish, that everyone else's needs are more urgent, more important, that they will get to themselves when that list gets shorter. But you know the list never gets shorter. And here's something I know will absolutely be true. Making space for yourself will make other people uncomfortable. It will inconvenience them. It will require you to disappoint someone, at least occasionally, in service of showing up for yourself. And that discomfort, theirs and yours, doesn't mean that something's wrong, which is often how we interpret it. It's just the price of reclaiming yourself. And it is absolutely worth paying that price. A lot of people who've been around the Grace and Grit podcast for a while know that I am a big traveler. I love to travel, and I love to travel alone. I do a lot of solo travel. Why? Because it forces me into time and space with myself. And that time and space has revealed so much about what I have abandoned when I'm consumed with the multitude of things I'm trying to keep up with in my everyday life. So solo travel is a way of coming back to myself, of recalibrating with myself. And man, is it to the benefit of everyone in my life. So much so that I've shared this many times, my husband will often tell me when he thinks it's time for me to take a trip, right? Because he can see the misalignment. He can see the agitation. He can see the sort of internal friction, which also becomes externally displayed. And he'll say to me, babe, it's time. It's time for you to go and have some time with yourself. And I have said the same thing to my husband, right? Take the camper, go away, go into the woods, because the woods is his sort of sanctuary. Go into the woods and stay there as long as you need to get centered, right? Sometimes it's a few days, sometimes it's a week. But extending each other that grace, I think, is a very big reason we're still married. Because it keeps us centered with ourselves so we can show up for the other. Now, you don't have to travel alone to know yourself, okay? If that's not your thing, fine. although I do really highly recommend it. There's other practices that work, right? And just fundamentally, run experiments. Try things you've never tried simply to find out how they make you feel. A new class, a new restaurant, a new route to work, a new creative medium. Not because you expect to love it, but because the trying itself tells you something about yourself, and that's worth knowing. Spend time in new environments. Novelty is one of the fastest routes to self-knowledge because it removes the autopilot. When everything is familiar, we stop noticing our own reactions. New environments have a way of waking us up. Read widely, not just in your area of expertise or interest, but things that challenge and expand your thinking. Notice what lights you up and what leaves you cold. That is data about who you are. Of course, this will come as no surprise because we talk about it in almost every episode, but learn new skills, right? We talked about this earlier this month. The learning process reveals us to ourselves, what we resist, what we love, how we handle frustration and setbacks, what we're willing to pursue. Taste new things. This sounds small, but it isn't. How often do we order the same thing, eat the same food, stay in the same comfort zone of flavor and experience? Expanding that, even in small ways, is a practice in curiosity. And curiosity is the foundation of self-knowledge. The other essential tool, will come as no surprise, is learn to ask yourself better questions. Not what should I do, but why do I do what I do? Not what is wrong with me, but what does this reaction tell me about what I value? Why do you show up the way you show up? Why do you think the way you think? Why do certain things drain you while other things fill you up? Why do you say yes to things that cost you? This kind of questioning is at the heart of the work that I do in my coaching practice. And honestly, it's a large part of why I wrote the book, The Consistency Code, because I believe deeply that the right questions asked honestly and repeatedly are one of the most powerful tools that we have for understanding and knowing ourselves. And knowing ourselves is the only foundation from which we can truly honor what we need, right? You're not the same person you were at 25 or 35. The woman standing here right now, in this body, in this season, with everything that she has been through, deserves to be known. And sometimes we just need to create the circumstances for her to be known, which comes down to time and space. Make the space, run the experiments, ask the questions, and start paying attention to the answers. Because you cannot pour from an empty cup, you know that. You cannot pour from a vessel that you have never bothered to fill. And you cannot honor a self that you have never taken the time to know. So start there and see what follows. I bet you will love what follows. If this stirred something inside of you, imagine what a whole book of clarity and courage could ignite. The Consistency Code, a midlife woman's guide to deep health and happiness, goes even deeper into the mindset and practices that create real, meaningful change at midlife. Grab your copy today over at theconsistencycode.com and keep the momentum alive.